I've dedicated about a third of my career to video marketing. My company, Thoughtcast Media, is celebrating its 10-year anniversary this year, but prior to starting this company, I worked for a software company called Personify. It's there that I stumbled upon video marketing as a way to solve a very particular marketing problem. This is the story about how all that happened. Before I jump into the story, please take just a moment to like, share, and comment on this video if you find it useful. It doesn't cost you anything, and it really helps us get this sort of content in front of other viewers. Okay, let's go. After spending the first 15 years of my career working for different nonprofit organizations, I was hired by Personify, then called TMA Resources. Personify, by some estimates at the time, was the largest provider of association management systems, or AMS software, in the world. They were a $30 million company with about 200 employees and could boast of having some of the largest trade associations and professional societies in the world as customers. Organizations like the American Bar Association, the American Institute of Architects, and the Society for Human Resources, also known as SHRM. And that's just to name a few. AMS software for organizations of this size ran from $500,000 to several $1 million. When I joined Personify, it was business as usual for marketing professionals at the time. We bought a lot of space advertising, we sent a lot of emails, exhibited at a lot of events, and things like that. This was the state of the marketing art around the year 2000, and I put my back into it. Well, sometime around 2010, a landmark research series was published by Lehman Associates, and for the first time, subscribers had access to independent, statistically reliable data for the industry and its major players, like Personify. One very important finding of the research was that there were only about 800 potential customers of a sufficient size in the market for enterprise association management software. Of those 800 organizations, all of them already had an AMS of one sort or another. Every 5 years, on average, each of these organizations went through a formal search to determine if they should upgrade their legacy system or replace it entirely with a new system. This meant that only 20% of the market was addressable at any given time. We also knew that a full 50% of those organizations were committed to their legacy system and were only going through the motions of searching for an alternative as a good business practice. This was the dynamic that really caught my attention. With only 20% of the market in the market at any one time, how was I to stay in front of the other 80% for as many as 5 years? Well, I decided to do that with content. Lots and lots of content. Now, at that time, I was very much influenced by Leo Laporte's This Week in Technology, or TWiT. TWiT was and is a great podcast, and back in those days, a real innovator. The TWiT TV podcast network featured a variety of shows on different aspects of technology news. It was great stuff. TWiT was distributed through the internet, which offered a variety of advantages over broadcast or cable programming, and I studied it very carefully to see how it worked. I won't trouble you with the details here, but TWiT was built on an array of sometimes bleeding edge technologies that worked well most of the time, and it occurred to me that we could do something similar. Video content at that time was in its infancy, but I saw it as a way to produce enough content to fill that 5-year gap between system upgrades and new acquisitions. Video was sexy, new, and shiny, and I wanted a part of it. I sold the rest of the executive management team on it, and then at a very tense staff meeting, I still remember it very well, at that meeting I sold the rest of the marketing team on it too. None of us had any experience with video marketing, and the plan was pretty ambitious. We set out to do 3 different shows on 3 topic areas, 3 different hosts, 3 different sets. We built a studio, bought a couple of TriCasters, cameras, microphones, and all the other technology associated with a professional video podcast operation. Our first few shows were a little rough, but my wonderful team rose to the occasion, and within 6 months, we were doing our 3 shows along with a lot of remote broadcasts from industry trade shows, our own annual user group meeting, and other events around the country. One happy discovery was that we could produce video content much faster than we could produce written content. Lengthy news releases could be handled with a brief interview with our CEO or another member of the executive team. Instead of white papers, New technology approaches were discussed by our CTO. New features were introduced by our product marketing team, and partner integrations and new partner releases were covered by our partner manager. All unscripted for the most part, with the exception of a couple of bullets to keep us on target. All of that would have required months of writing, editing, rewriting, vetting, and approvals if it weren't video. Video, we found, was much less formal. Of course, many of those documents would eventually be written one way or the other, but video gave us the ability to bring that information to market much more quickly. I went from being asked to write 5-page white papers to being asked to get one of our engineers in front of the camera. It went a long way to reducing workload across the company. Video, as I said, was sexy and new at the time, and everybody wanted to be featured on our programming. Industry organizations, industry consultants, partners, and others beat a trail to our door. We never ever suffered from a lack of content. Video kept us in front of our primary audience during the interim years. What I can tell you is that our venture into video marketing is still remembered by customers, partners, and staff as an innovative approach to a very clear market challenge. Video content was also less expensive to produce. Despite all the new equipment acquisitions, we were able to reduce both our advertising, events, and other budgets. So that's how I discovered video marketing. There are many other stories to be told from those days, along with lessons learned and a few cautionary tales, but this will have to suffice for now. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It really helps us a lot. And if you have any questions about how we got our video content machine up and running, or you have your own video marketing story to tell, let me know in the comments section below. For ThoughtCast Media, I'm Paul Gannon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you the next time.